Let me find out the NBA finally got it right. The NBA finally got it right in giving Shai Alexander the MVP trophy. My only thing with that, he should have won it last year. Y'all, everyone wants to get in their feelings about Joker having a MVP-esque season. That's cool. He can. Just because you have a great season doesn't mean you deserve the MVP trophy, especially if your team ain't winning like that, right? OKC has been dominant for the last 2 seasons. He should have won the MVP last year. Now, if you're saying Joker deserved an MVP, he got one. He got the one from last season. He should have, when you look at the numbers, if you want to give it to him this year, you would have had to have it justified by giving Shai Alexander the MVP last year. In 2 instances, Joker got the look over 2 players. One was Joel Embiid, who ended up winning the next year, and again with Shai Alexander, who ends up winning it the year after. He should have won it the first time. This isn't on the players. They have to figure out the voting, and they keep doing this thing where a guy deserves it, they give it to somebody else, and then they try to double up and make it back and make it right the next season if the guy has a great season again. When you expect a great player to be a great player and they do great things, you can't reward them for their greatness as far as consistency is concerned. If their team isn't winning and prospering because of those numerics, then you have to look at them differently. You can't look at them with the same newness that you looked at it before. You've given Joker, so you're trying to tell me in a lot of conversations, Joker should have 4 or 5 MVPs at this point? Like he's good, but he's not that dominant. You're talking Michael Jordan-esque, who was clearly dominant when he played and should have won MVP almost every year. Now, if you lose an MVP, it's to Magic, Bird. We get it respectfully. That's Magic and Bird. You know what I'm saying? Like he's doing his superstar shit, and that's to be respected. But he created a new normal, and we have to look at it from that vantage point. We can't just keep looking at it with this newness and shying away, no pun intended, from guys who are also having incredible seasons and MVP caliber seasons simply because Joker's the apple of your eye. He's a center who's a point center, and he's doing all these magnificent things. Cool. But at a certain point, your team has to benefit from your superstardom. He's benefiting more from his numbers than his team is from his performances. That's a fact. And we're getting to the point where it's like, all right, cool. You can't keep looking away from other guys simply to give this guy the attention you want him to have. Because Shai Alexander has also been dominant. Nobody could guard him. There's no scheme you can develop. Ain't no answer for this kid. He gets busy. He had to jump through all these hoops just to get a trophy he deserved last season. You know how hard it is to do what he did last year again this year? That shit ain't easy. Avoiding injury, playing with whatever aches and pains you got, and your team still being number one as every NBA team evolved. That shit ain't no given. Like, to do that again is nuts. But out of the last 2 years, Joker deserved one of the MVPs, and Shai deserved one of the MVPs as well. I think they got the wrong years. I think if you were ever going to give a center an MVP, it should have been this year, and last year Shai should have got it. And we can't keep, like, they keep this. I don't like it. I don't like how they quantify these players. A lot of it is personal. A lot of it is, you know what I mean? Like, you're giving too much power to a selected few people. You got to broaden the scope. It has to be more people having a say and at least bring a different opinion to the conversation instead of them having the first and final say because they're voting, because they have their own personal biases. You know what I'm saying? I think like the All-Star, I think you should allow the fans to also vote and have a say. And you know what I mean? And it does play that part, but you still give the writers and all these other players, all these other people opportunities to have a say. But I think they got to figure something out because it's too much of the we're gonna not gonna give it to a guy, and then if he has another season like this one, then we'll give it to him. Nah, like it looks like you're just making up for a bad decision, and it's very tough to duplicate a magnificent season. So imagine if Shai would have had a dope season, but his team lost. They would have used that against him, but they wouldn't have used it against Joker. You know what I mean? Like his team has fallen from grace. They're good because of him, but the NBA is adapting to him. OKC is dominant. You got to respect their handle. You got to respect the fact that this dude impacts his team just like Joker, but his team is number one, and it's not even close. They're dominating the same conference Joker's in, and they're dominating all the other conversations you can have with anybody else who's in the Eastern Conference who has to compete against them. We can't keep taking away from a guy and then give it to him later on. And get it right the first time is all I'm saying. And this light also shines this opportunity also shines a lot of light on Canadian basketball. They've been waiting for this kid to win an MVP for a few years. Like his performances have been mounting. More Canadian ball players have been going into the NBA. And the culture of basketball in Canada, it reminds me of that of New York in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s. There's this love for basketball. There's this passion. They're not in it for, you know what I mean? They're not in it for this vain thing that everyone's doing. A lot of the kids in Canada are playing because they love it. And for some, it's their way out. It's a way to get away. A lot of kids now you see in the States is, AAU is all about entitlement and connection. It's too business-like. Everybody trying to get paid. You don't see kids playing outside no more. You know what I mean? That love is missing from the game. You see it in certain pockets, but the genuine love of ball players, like you see people playing, but you know what it feels like when hoopers is outside really competing, and it's this conversation and this buzz in the neighborhood, and you got to come downstairs laced up, ready to go. You get that feeling like there's a passion there, and it should be rewarded, and it should draw more attention and give kids more opportunities to compete as basketball players. Now is hopefully it forces a lot of kids who, especially with players getting paid in college, like that bag for an 18-year-old coming across the border to play college basketball, shit, that's a good start in life. That's a good start, especially for something that you're passionate about. And Canada has a lot of talent that's being developed, a lot of talent already in college, a lot of talent already in high school, a lot of talent already in the pros. I think it was about time. It was gonna happen eventually. You know what I mean? I would rather it be like this, a Canadian player in America winning the MVP, or rather than an American player in Canada winning the MVP because it's not representing the people. It's different. Shai represents Canadian ball players all around, just like Dylan Brooks and everybody else. Everybody else plays their part and it built up to this. Is he the best player in the NBA? Yeah. Should he get more recognition in the media? He don't get the push. But then again, most players don't get the push anymore. It's never gonna be like Mike. You know what I mean? Or AI or Kobe. This press run that they have now, they want it to be very universal and they want to go viral just off various conversations and clickbait situation. It's not like all the media is focusing on one guy to elevate him to superstar status. Because I feel like Shai Alexander has star power, but you don't see him being marketed the way the other guys in the past have. There's no commercials. There's no campaign. You know what I mean? There's no sensationalizing what he's done and what he's gone through to get where he is. You know what I mean? It's just I don't like how they're just making it. All right, he's just a dope ball player. Nah, every other dope ball player that came before him. Their story was illuminated. There was more to it. There was more of a campaign, more of a story, more of what connected us to him. You know what I mean? And that's lacking. You know what I mean? He should have more of a platform, more of a say. It should feel like he's the star because the NBA doesn't have the face of the league right now, and it's going to be hard because that personality isn't there. That everyone like it's changed. Times have changed. People have changed, and what stardom has changed because there's so many like other stars that shine as well, and we get that. But if you're a ball player, you want the best people in basketball to be illuminated among the other stars. There's no more Hollywood. There's no more like we get entertainment as a whole has changed, but the number one ball player in basketball or the MVP has to be. It can't just be something that can be looked at as all right. Now on to the next thing. It's never been that way. The MVP of the NBA has always been a big story. Right now, it feels like it's just another story among the other stories in the NBA. You know what I mean? They're trying to, like, when I found out that he won MVP, the Knicks played, and now the Knicks story becomes that thing, and it kind of clouds the MVP story when it shouldn't. They're not even in the same category. That's a game. This is a major accomplishment for a kid who's been playing, and for a country who's been vying for not even relevancy, just to be the respect level of we create ball players that are just as good as everybody else on the planet. This is beyond relevance. This is a fact. Look at college. Zach Edey, two-time National Player of the Year. They were talking about him the other day on Gil's Arena. Like we're talking about every level. There's dominance. You had dominance in high school. You had dominance in college. Dominance now in the pros. There has to be more of a campaign with that. Like this is a big story that's major media is just making it seem like it's just another story. When it's been something that's brewing for years. And it should be something that's explosive leading us into the Olympics. If I was part of major media, I would make sure this has an explosive impact on entertainment. And then we would build this shit to the Olympics. Because that's what it's going to end up. California, Olympics, Canadian team, American. We don't know who the American team is. Like, this is, they don't understand. Like, we can really, this could be some shit that we can build up. This could be the beginning of the fireworks for the Olympic basketball. Because if we don't get this right in America, I'm telling you right now, the Canadian team is definitely going to medal. And it could be gold if we don't get the right combination of players together. So you could have an MVP and a gold medalist on your hands. But it had like, it's wild that they just looking at it like it's, and they tried to gloss over it. And then people are complaining about, no, I don't think they got it right. I think because Joker averaged a triple-double, he's supposed to be great. At some point, a great player is supposed to be respected for his greatness. They keep glazing the same person. This is what he does. This is his normal. He's figured out how to be successful in the NBA. Cool. That's your new normal. But Shai also has a new normal. He's dominant also. And his team is winning without a shadow of a doubt. And he's a big part of that. You got to reward that and respect that. And then you go into the bigger package and the bigger picture of Canadian basketball as a whole. Like that wasn't even illuminated or attached to the story. They making it seem like he think it. It's a whole culture. We missing out. Our kids in America need to see other kids who love basketball. That's what the love of the game looks like. I remember when damn near every dude who used to play, whether it be high school or college, it's like every hood had a dude that had a basketball team with young kids playing in tournaments and moving around. Like we all were a part of that. We don't see too many guys coaching anymore. Like even me, I would be a dope coach. Do I want to coach? No, because I don't want to deal with parents. Delusional fucking parents. And these kids have this entitlement and this attitude. I ain't got time for that. You know what I mean? So it's like they're missing out and we're missing out. I think if we see someone who's genuinely enjoying it, you hear about guys or you see guys who used to play ball in Canada in the late 90s, mid 90s, early 2000, turning around, getting these kids saying, yo, I got a team. This is my crew. I'm coaching now. And they're coaching against each other. You know what I mean? Keeping that energy going while we're moving on to other things because the attitude and the temperament and then the business, AAU, this and it ain't no regular tournaments no more that you could just put your kids in. Nah, it's AAU this and all of that, and then everybody's kind of consolidated and there's a camera everywhere and kids running on. Nah, whatever happened to just hooping kids enjoying the game and then going to the house and getting back to life? Like you're still getting footage, especially in Canada, of kids in the gym just playing, trying to get better, starting from square one. We see kids when they fucking, he's the number one ranked 15-year-old. Nah, how did he get there? What was the work like? What did he sacrifice? What's the story? You just want us to be connected to his greatness. What's the story? You're getting the story everywhere else. I think that has to I think we're missing out on some big conversations, some dope conversations by them simply, all right, he deserves the MVP, but the bigger story is there's a country full of ball players that have influenced American basketball. Where's that conversation? That's a better that's just as important as the MVP conversation because he used to be one of those kids. There's a pipeline of greatness that can't be overlooked. And they don't have ex-NBA players coaching them. They don't have ex-McDonald's All-Americans or high school kids coaching. It's guys who used to play, who did they want to, pouring into the next generation, creating a generation and a lineage of when you get where you going, you turn back and you pour into the next group. I remember New York being like that. I remember Chicago being like that. Detroit, parts of Florida, where there wasn't, where, football is always dominant in Florida and Texas, but there were pockets where they were pouring in, old ball players pouring into the kids. Now it's just a few with business connections and the declassifications. You got superstar kids playing with younger kids. Like there was a time in New York where you didn't even want to play with your age group. I wanted to play with the oldest kids I could, whether it be unlimited. If I'm 13, I want to play 16 and under. If I'm 14, I want to play unlimited. You get to a point where it's like, I don't even want to play with my age group. I'm not going to learn anything. And it's not cool. But it comes down to, are you good enough or not? Sometimes you're just not good enough. Some guys are. Everybody's not Skip. Everybody's not Cam. You don't get to always play unlimited. You got to be nice because you're playing with grown men who are superstars on the street. You got to hold your own. You got to be able to hoop. Be efficient, be effective, all that. But I just think this guy deserves the MVP. They got it right. I think they're a year late, though. He should have won it last year. And if you want to give Joker the MVP this year, cool. I think he should have got the MVP during that. So I just think right after the Olympics, that would have been dope. But now, better late than never. You know what I mean? But let's start that real conversation about where there needs to be some real competition and conversations had. I think it's time for our kids in America to start going to Canada and hooping. Not so much leave America, but listen, compete. In the summertime, yeah, AAU is cool. But how good are you going to be playing against the same kids you playing? Nick, pack that up, get on that international flight, see what you could do in Canada against those kids. Because they waiting for you. They waiting for the opportunity. Or they come down to us. And that's going to bring back, I think that's what's going to bring back the feeling in New York. I think that's what's going to bring the feeling back in a lot of places. It's about that time. It's about time for a new generation of players. And it's either we watch them keep sending great players down the pipeline, or we got to start sending kids up there or have them come down and we compete. You know what I mean? That's the only way our kids are going to get better, because they waiting for that work. They waiting for somebody to say, yo, we got a team from wherever coming. All right, we're waiting. Like, they're waiting for the work. They want it. I can't wait for that rivalry to start at that AAU, you know what I mean, high school. Like, we need that. That'll bring back the feeling, I promise you. But tell me what you think about this in the comment section. Shai Alexander deserves the MVP. I think he should have won it last year. And if best case scenario, he should have 2 MVPs. But if you were ever going to give Joker MVP, when he has the numbers to do so, it could have been this year when he had averaged a triple double. One of the first centers the only center I've ever seen average a triple double. But it looks like they were just making right a wrong that they did last year. Tell me what you think in the comment section. I'm out of here. Peace.